Welcome back to Gravity Rush. So last time our friend built her focus, became a magical girl, and beating our asses.
Wow,
And
that
now
was a
shit's
great
happening.
album cover.
Kind of was, yeah. Um, so, the deity people again.
Yes.
Were all of them in the last game or just the old guy?
The old guy and the blue hair girl.
Okay.
Oh no, it's the Gate of Truth or something.
Already way ahead of you, Lewis.
Oh. Great minds think alike, I see.
I don't get it.
Fullmetal Alchemist reference.
Specifically
I
the
don't get
manga
it.
and/or Brotherhood, so. And if you haven't watched and/or read it, you absolutely should because it's one of the best, just like ever.
Wait, wasn't that gate in the original anime run too?
It was, but it was not elaborated on because the story went in a
Right.
wildly different direction.
Yeah. In the original anime run, it wound up being a gateway between two versions of Earth, one with alchemy and one without. So basically, a gateway to the real
And that leads
world.
into Shambhala, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
the real world during like World War
Late
II-ish
30s.
era.
Yeah, World War II is
Well, late 1930s, not quite World War II yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good thing, considering. But
Yeah, there was only one World War at that point, which is.
Yeah.
so
Why
much
do you
better.
why do you keep calling it that?
I mean, because Edward Elric hails from not Germany, so good thing. In any case, where is let's see.
We're in some random dream world.
Yeah. And then of course the movie happened and Edward Elric wound up back in his own reality anyway. So,
Well, for a moment anyway.
Wait, so there's a movie that's the anime movie.
oh wait,
And
There-
then
there-
there's
Well, no,
other
the 2003 series is kind of its own thing,
yeah,
using the story written at the time as a base. Then that has its own kind of finale movie,
right, yeah.
and then Brotherhood is just the manga animated.
Did the anime overtake the manga? Is that what happened?
Very early, yes, because
Okay.
Full Metal Alchemist in the magazine that it ran in was monthly,
Yeah.
Okay.
which meant that an anime, especially that's coming out weekly, is going to catch up super quick.
Yes.
Thankfully, they had the foresight to know that was going to happen, so the author worked with this anime studio to help make a different story.
Yeah,
Which is why the 2003 series is basically the only anime original storyline for a manga that actually is good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's merits to watching both.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
Okay.
manga author in this case actually like intentionally steered the story away from things that were going to happen in the manga to keep things surprising. So there are things that pop up in the in the first run of anime that are like deliberately the opposite of what the manga does.
Yeah, like she told them exactly, like, Lust dies really early in the manga in Brotherhood, so she gave them an out for the original series so they could focus some more time on her for other stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
So it worked out rather well. I mean, a lot of people like Brotherhood more. I think the original still has merit, especially those earlier episodes that's following the manga, because I think it just does those plot lines better.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, to each their own. You can watch either or and still have a great experience.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I still have not watched Brotherhood at all.
I would recommend watching, like, the first, like, third or so of 2003, because it does those early plot threads a lot better, because it gives a lot more time to them.
There's also like one episode that came off as a side story at the very beginning with the miners.
The one blatantly, the one really weird one that technically ties into stuff, but not really.
Yeah. So like Yoki, the bad guy from that episode, comes back as a character later on in the manga, and the Brotherhood anime just does not do the setup for him at all. So he just sort of comes out of nowhere if you only watch Brotherhood. It's so. I mean, the series even pretends like you already know who he is because they assume a lot of people have watched the original anime run anyway.
Or read the manga.
Or read
yeah.
the manga, yeah. But apart from that and some somewhat awkward episodes in the very beginning, it is a beautiful anime.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. More of these challenge hand things.
Directly.
To Epcot Center. Oh, you broke it.
Oh, the giant golf ball.
Yeah, the giant. Yeah,
That's what it is. I mean,
It's a
nobody
giant
else
golf
calls
ball.
it anything else. Also, I feel like I'm old because I actually appreciate Spaceship Earth as a ride now, instead of it being that boring thing that my parents want me to go to.
Well, it helps that Epcot has actual rides now.
Yeah, well, not at this very
Wait,
second.
there's something inside that golf ball?
Yeah.
It's a ride.
I just thought it was a giant golf ball.
I'm pretty sure I've been in there
Well-
once, but
Yeah. Well, back when I was little, and like again, I live in Georgia, so it was a very quick drive down for like a vacation thing. Back like early days of Epcot, like even until like the mid '90s, like that was like the only ride there. it was like that was the only ride, and then you had like all the countries to visit. And as a kid, that was boring.
Yeah, it was specifically made to be the grown-up park. So
Yeah.
Funny.
I'm pretty sure
And
we've
that-
had
and-
this tangent before. But
Probably.
funny though when
Ted, we've been doing this for 10 years.
when I was
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I guess I just never really had much of an affinity for theme parks, but that stuff was the stuff that interested me more than the rest. So,
Fair. I mean, I'm also old enough to just still call it MGM Studios instead of whatever they call it now.
I'm convinced that the very last thing that will happen on this planet before the apocalypse is Epcot is going to take off to the moon and reunite with its father.
And then and Disney himself unthaws from the middle of
is that that's where they keep the head in the golf ball?
it. Probably.
Yeah, he pops out of Epcot like Rita Repulsa. Mighty
After 10,000 years, I'm free.
I'm free.
It's time to conquer entertainment. Oh, you've already done that, Bob Iger. Thank you.
you've done well, my pupils, but now I kind of don't have anything to do.
Oh, fuck, I'm bored.
It just cuts to like a throne room, and then Bob Iger, or whoever's in charge now, just kneels, and then it's the hologram of
now I'm
Walt
just-
Disney as the
Now I'm
emperor.
just picturing zombie Emperor Walt Disney hooked up to a life support apparatus like Palpatine.
Yeah, you know how like the king sits on a throne on top of skulls? It's just Walt Disney sulking on the top of Epcot centers, like miniaturized,
Yeah.
on top of the throne.
You have done well, Lord Iger.
Then who's Eisner in this situation?
Dooku,
Dooku. Kill him.
do it. Directly.
I think the best thing that Star Wars ever gave us was so much material to joke about when talking about other things.
I mean, the prequel memes page is like the best thing that Star Wars has ever given us.
It's
Like,
it's the best part of the prequels.
well, one of my favorite things that I saw was when I was it was on Twitter, and it's the clip from the from Rise of Skywalker where Ben is talking to Han Ghost, whatever he is, and then he had the scene where he throws the lightsaber into the water, and then General
Grievous
starts running another
fine
addition
addition
to
to
my
my collection. Just jumps into the water. Or the one where they Photoshop in, like, you know, where he's like undoing the 4 lightsabers against Obi-Wan. Just more arms keep popping out and adding more lightsabers. And he just does like the flippy twirly shit when he strikes his pose, but there's so many of them he just cuts himself to ribbons.
General Grievous is such a random character in this series. It's like
He really is.
I guess they wanted there to be like a fake final boss, but it's like also
He used to use like 4 lightsabers. Okay, we need to make him a little more distinct. I don't know, have him fucking cough or something. Jesus, go away.
What is with this weird area that somehow seems to exist just to mess with Cat's powers?
It's a Dreamland thing.
oh, so now they're teaching you super duper awesome moves that you can do with your extra powers.
It's a little late in the game for that.
Again, this was meant to be the third game.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like these extra abilities. I just
Yeah, I
wish
do
that they
too.
did you had more. Could you not use them when you were back?
I think you could. You could.
Okay. Well, then maybe this is partly your fault for just not doing that. Um,
I mean, partially, yes.
Well, it feels like this would be where you learn stuff like this, but
I mean, kinda, yeah.
it doesn't happen until now, and that's weird.
is there stuff that like you get? Is there like endgame stuff that requires you to use these or incentivizes
No.
you? No. Okay. Okay.
Man, if I had a nickel for every, like, really, really promising IP that was left with an unfinished game because someone didn't have faith that it would sell, I would be a very rich man, and I would probably be able to afford to finish those games.
As in complete them, or actually just like finish
Buy them.
developing them?
Finish developing them.
Finish developing.
you
Okay,
know.
there's like, yeah, maybe I'll actually give a shit about
Well,
completing the
time
game
is
this time.
money, right? So that, by that logic, then he would be able to finish.
But
them.
money is the root of all evil, therefore time is evil.
Herm.
Suck it, Kronos.
Anyway, I had games in mind that I was going to mention, but I lost them. The only one I'm remembering off the top of my head now is a game called Wet, which sadly nobody listening probably knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know
Why
what you're
did you
talking
name
about.
your game Wet?
Because like you do wet work, as in assassin work.
Do you like your head?
It's kind of like a Tarantino style action game.
Oh, I've seen this. Before.
Yeah.
Hold on, I need to
I
see
mean,
the box
the
art.
title is supposed to be a risque double meaning as well, but it's mostly an action game.
Yeah, this looks like the cover of some sort of porn. Looking at that.
Well, it's a really, really good basis for a game, but it's like blatantly incomplete. Both technically in terms of it has a lot of bugs, and like literally in terms of it ends at what feels like should be the midway point. So it's one of those games where it's really worth experiencing just to see what the final product would have looked like if they had actually finished it, because it's that interesting. But it's also like by no stretch of the imagination a good complete game. So
Had a sequel in development that was canceled.
yes. One of my favorite main characters in gaming too, so that's a thing.
I mean, we've all seen games like that where it's just like, oh, I wish this got a sequel to fully realize it. And I mean, I think it's heartbreaking too when it's like a series that goes on for like 2 or 3 games and then stops. Like for me, the ultimate heartbreaker is Trauma Center, because I've talked about those games on this channel plenty before. I love the series. And then after the 3rd game, well, technically it's the 5th, but I'm not going to get into that. Trauma Team came out, and for those who don't know anything about it, it's got pretty much Sonic Adventure's exact same structure, where there's 6 different characters, each with their own gameplay style, with an interconnecting story that leads to a last story where you switch between each character. So it's like literally the Sonic Adventure gameplay style. But
Oh, do you become Super Doctor?
no, not really. But
Here goes yellow, and you can do super surgery.
no, but you operate on a cat.
Well, I mean, that happens. So
Yeah. But in the middle of like a mass pandemic where like everybody else in the world is throwing up blood, but then randomly they're just like, oh no, this cat is sick, we better operate. Okay, so I'm not going to say that they're not stupid, but anyway, the point I was trying to get is that Trauma Team was a really, really good game, and like it was also like a huge step up in production values and polish, but it was less focused again because of all the different gameplay styles. So
Yeah.
what I really wanted was for them to go back to, you know, maybe not just the single original surgery, but, you know, like maybe focus more on those styles of game and maybe not have like visual novel segments. Although I did like those too. But anyway, it's never going to happen now because we don't have a game with IR pointing or touchscreen really anymore. And without either of those, they're just never going to make another one, which is really sad. And I know, like, Lewis has
Legacy of
Kain,
yeah.
and Ryan
still waiting
has
for
F-Zero, which also will never get a new game.
You know, I'm still waiting for a sequel to Brave Fencer Musashi.
You have a sequel to Brave Fencer Musashi, John.
They never made a Samurai Legend Musashi. What are you talking about?
I thought your
That's weird that you know what the sequel would be called if it came out, Lewis.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad he thought of it.
Nah.
I would have thought it would just be Brave Fencer Musashi, too.
Braver Fencer Musashi.
Yeah.
Bravely Default Musashi.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It still dazzles me that they made a Bravely Second and a Bravely Default 2.
I hate Square Enix with every fiber of my goddamn being. I need to say, wait, hold on. Why does Kat have a Smash Brothers alt costume? That's like what that's like what the Raven call-out costume color would be if she was in Smash Brothers. Is that her costume in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale? All these questions and more will not be answered next time on BrainScratch Commentaries.